6, and welcome to the third annual TWRC presidential election, our 2022 edition, hosted by TTTE Community Radio, and of course by Blue Midwest Mysteries. I am one half of the Blue Midwest Mysteries co-host, Percy number 6, and we are here today with our two presidential nominees. First, Percy 6 production, Miles.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
And second, he is our current TWRC vice president, looking to take the vice out and just be our president, Roman of Roman's TWR Empire.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's great to see some fresh faces here on the debate floor tonight.
With that said, I have a few questions to go over with you guys. You'll both get your chance, 90 seconds to respond to the questions, followed by a little debate between the two of you. So let's start out with our first question. It's about the other co-host of Blue Midwest Mysteries, Mr. MPS 2002. Our current president, LNER Flying Scotsman, threw him behind bars, I'd say unjustly, and he's been on Misty Island ever since. If you two become president, what would you do to save MPS and free him from the jail cell he's in? Miles, we'll begin with you.
I think personally he was imprisoned unjustly. I think that was a crime, and I think that was one facet in which President Roberto acted out of hand. But I ask you, right now, I have no power. I have no power in the community, but who does? Roman as vice president. And what did he do? He has been
That's not true. That's not true.
Okay, let's just talk. Let's talk over my time, my 90 seconds. I'm
Go ahead. Let's hear what you have to say. Go.
I think that President Roberto acted out of hand. I think that MPS should be released, and I think that it was unjust. That's what I have to say on the matter. I love that guy. He's like a brother to me. The first time I met him and we locked eyes, there was a spark, okay? And it was fantastic. So I have nothing but love for the guy.
Okay, thank you, Miles. Roman, your 90 seconds begins now.
Well, I would just like to acknowledge the fact that Roberto has endorsed Miles' campaign and has put a lot of money into his campaign, and yet Miles is turning on Roberto all of a sudden, something we've never heard previously. But,
I said he is a great president, but that was one area.
Excuse me, Miles.
This is his time.
Thank you. I previously, as you had seen on Twitter, I had met with Thomas Wooden Railway earlier this year, and we discussed methods on how to let MPS out of his prison sentence. And if you had been following what was going on Twitter, you would have seen that MPS actually did manage to make it out of prison for a short while, thanks to Thomas Wooden Railway. So I have not had a direct role in his imprisonment, and I have had no say on what Roberto has done to him, but I have tried my hardest thus far to try and get him out. And I can tell you that as president, I will continue on that path, and I will sign an executive order to let him out of that prison once and for all.
Trying your hardest with sending Thomas Wooden Railway. You couldn't do anything about that as vice president.
He's a very reliable man.
And you are not.
All I could say is good things about him.
I love
very
the guy
reliable,
too.
Miles. How could you say that? How could you say that?
You are unreliable, unreally useful. Those are two words I already used today.
I am a very useful engine, Miles.
I'm sorry. It got too personal for a moment. But
Thank you.
No, you sent Thomas Wooden Railway to do your dirty work while you sat there doing nothing. Okay? He just so happened to save him while you were vice president, but you didn't do anything to save Matt. I have no power until I become president, so there's nothing I could do to save him.
Mr. Six, I believe we're past the time limit.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Vice President. Our next question, Miles kind of brought this up. I'm excited to ask you guys, experience Now, of course, Roman is our current vice president. Miles, you're our current nothing. What does your experience being the vice president or being a nothing? What is your experience? Will it do to help you be a good president of our community? This time we will start with Roman.
Thank you. Well, I would just like to say that as I've been vice president for the past year, I've seen all the things that Roberto has done, which are very, very big mistakes. Like, for example, like what we were just talking about, MPS being thrown in prison. And also Roberto himself collecting gray troublesome trucks and avoiding the taxes that come with having over 10. I'd like to also mention quickly that my fellow candidate Miles has, I believe, 14 gray troublesome trucks. So just keep that in mind. But anyways, I've seen all the things that Roberto has unjustly done, and I have learned, working under him, an example of what not to do. So that's where my experience will come from. Thank you.
Thank you, Roman. Miles, your turn.
Well, first off, I just want to say this question was asked in a very biased way. I have plenty, well, maybe I don't have as much experience as others in this call, but I just released a new video, which I have 5 on my channel now, and I've been watching the community for a long time. Okay, well, I might not have been directly involved. I think, as Roman said when this call started, it's good to see some new, fresh faces in here. I think I could bring new policies and new ideas to the table that other people might not have thought of because they've been in this too long. One of which being, I think that the active user, it should go, instead of being 12 months, or instead of being 6 months, half a year that it takes for you to not make a video for you to be deemed inactive, I think it should be a year. I think a year is supple time to decide if you are inactive or not. And I think that is a great policy that I'm gonna enforce.
I don't think President Roberto would like that. I don't think that's something he'd enjoy.
Well, I'm my own person. Okay. I love the guy. You have to understand.
You better watch your campaign money in the next 24 hours. It might dwindle a bit.
I've got nothing but respect for President Roberto, but
so for the record,
I think there are a few things
he's endorsed you. He's endorsed you, but it seems like you two have not agreed on anything so far.
We have agreed. Very curious.
Well, we are good friends. We go way back. And we agree on other things.
Folks, I think you'll find that my candidate Miles is a very troublesome diesel.
I am not a troublesome diesel. Roman is a chucklesome truck, okay? And I just want to say, who is going to be Roman's vice president? Oh, Percy number 6, who's hosting this. So I want you to know from the get-go, this is going to be
okay, and let's move on to our next question.
The table is tilted, guys.
We'll move on to our next question. Enough, Miles. We are moving on to our next question, and it is about taxing troublesome trucks. Now, earlier this year, our current president, Roberto, said that under his administration, if you had 10 troublesome trucks or more, you would be taxed accordingly. It is on record that our president does have 10 troublesome trucks or more, and yet no new taxes on these troublesome truck holders. So my question to both of you is, if you become president, will you enforce the taxes that the Roberto administration promised we'd receive if you own 10 troublesome trucks or more? Miles, we will start with you.
I don't think that policy...
I believe I can answer it for him. He's not going to.
Is that true, Miles?
Okay. I do not think a policy like that is just. I do not think a policy like that is just, because I think if you are a hardworking member,
give him his time, Roman.
As a hardworking member of the TWRC, also keep this in mind. I have like just over 300 subscribers. The two other people
Wow,
in this
big
call
deal.
overpower me. No, listen, 300 against thousands, okay? And I have fought blood and bone, okay, to get my gray faces. And I think it's only fair that I should keep them, okay? I've gone from rags to riches in terms of gray
For the
faces.
record, Miles, we aren't saying we'll take them away. You're just going to be taxed more for owning 10 troublesome trucks or more.
No, I know, but I don't think I should be punished for something that I've accomplished. You know? How about for every video you make, you should get taxed? No, that's a ridiculous proposition. I think that you should not be taxed based on gray faces. Okay.
Okay, thank you, thank you, Miles. Roman, we would like to hear from you.
Well, very quick, or the first thing I'd like to say is the tax is not unfair by any means because it is helping out our fellow community members and giving back to them, so giving back to the members who are less fortunate, who have less rare items, who have the ability to have less rare items, which I'd like to mention. Current President Roberto has been going off the chain recently on eBay purchases, buying all the rare items he possibly can. And I'd also like to mention that I've been informed from an anonymous source that my candidate Miles spent $400 on a Takara Zorin, a very rare item.
Okay,
that
my
he
competitor
deprived
Roman
other
spent
community members of.
$400 out of Busy Bee James
let
set.
Roman speak. Let Roman speak.
I had my fun one day, Miles, and
And
I
so did I.
enjoyed that
And so did I.
purchase.
I had fun with my Zorin.
No one else was going to spend that money. No one else was going to spend that money. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Feel free to debate.
I believe that Miles is a hoarder of troublesome trucks, and I believe that's why he doesn't want to tax.
Thank you for your point. I think it is time to move on to our next question. Let's start out with a Roberto question. Once again, this time it's about the crimes he's committed in his 2 years as TWRC president. My question to both of you, will you be holding Roberto accountable for these crimes, or will you be giving him a presidential pardon on your first day in office? We will start with our current vice president, Roman.
Okay, yes. To answer your question, yes, is a solid yes. I would put President Roberto in jail for his crimes. There is no other way around it. What he's done has been absolutely unexcusable. What he's done to MPS, how he's avoided taxing troublesome trucks, how he's been, especially recently, how he's been unfairly hoarding TWR items. It's plain simple unjust what he's been doing, and there's no other option but to put him in prison for the crimes he has committed. So that's my answer.
Thank you, Roman. It is now your turn, Miles.
Okay, President Roberto, he's done some things, okay? He's been a naughty boy even, but prison,
He's been very naughty.
very naughty indeed. He's been, one could even say, a chucklesome truck. But prison's a, I don't think it's harsh enough. Like, maybe we should, like, tell him, DM him.
You wouldn't
like,
get campaign money if you put him in jail.
Hey,
Let's let the man speak.
we should maybe, like, how about this? I'll DM him. I'll save all of you the effort. I'll DM him and say, hey, you might want to cut back on the spending. I'll say that. I'll say you've been a very naughty boy, Roberto. I'll do that for all of you. We don't even have to worry about this prison nonsense anymore, okay? Does that sound good, guys?
So wait, you're saying you're just going to
Audience, I
DM
want you to
him?
all say yes.
You're going to DM him, and then he's just not going to go to jail, is what you're telling us?
No, I'm going to reprimand him verbally.
So you're going to do nothing about it, is what you're telling me.
I think that's what he's telling you.
That is not nothing. Get out of that.
You're also doing it behind the scenes. We are not going to get to see that. We are just going to go by your word.
I'll post screenshots. I'll post screenshots. Don't you worry. It'll happen. But that's only That's only if I become president, because otherwise I don't have the authority for him to listen to me. He's a president. I'm a plebeian. Okay.
I don't. Well, Roman, what do you feel about this?
It seems suspicious. And it also seems like a very shallow promise, if I have to say so myself.
Okay. Well, you haven't done anything to stop his reign of terror, as you would call it. Well, you've been vice president.
As I've said
I
previously, I have no capability
I don't see how you're going to step up to the plate as president if, as vice, you've done seemingly nothing about it.
Because I will have the powers which I did not have before, because President Roberto blocked me from doing so. Let me remind you, Miles.
Did he soft block you?
He did soft block me, and he also hard blocked me. But let me remind you.
No.
Let me remind you. One of Roberto's original campaign promises was to put me in prison, and then all of a sudden I'm his vice president. Of course, he's not going to treat me with 100% respect. He never did. That's all I'll say on the matter.
And what, you just took it on the chin? You thought it's okay, I'll have no power but be vice president? That seems a little.
There was nothing I could do, Miles. You don't understand his reign of terror. You
Apparently,
just take his money
being a friend
and run
close
with it.
friend. You did nothing.
Well, thank you both.
So you just let the regular users just be terrorized by him, so you could save yourself, okay, by becoming vice president, not being imprisoned. You decided to save yourself and let everybody else go through hell. Sorry, I said that word. But
you have no idea.
I'm in a tizzy right now. I'm in a tizzy.
You have no idea. You have no idea the passion I have for all the people that Roberto has subjected to his terrible reign. But I've had no say on the matter. And that's all I'll say.
Roman.
Because, again, there's nothing else to say here.
I'm asking you. You became vice president to pardon yourself of prison, right?
Correct.
So
but also that was Roberto's choice. It was his choice solely, not mine.
So you did that and sat in a position of power by name and just watched him wreak havoc on the community. Well, you did nothing just so that you could save yourself. Is that correct?
That is not correct. I did so because I had no other choice, because I had no say in the matter.
Your choice was prison or becoming vice president, and you chose vice president. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Not my choice. Not my choice. It was Roberto's.
Okay, with that said, let's move on to our next question. We are going to talk about this new TWR line. One of the things that actually did happen under President Roberto's second term was the return of TWR. We've had 2 waves, but it's been pretty quiet since. If you become our next president, what will you do to make sure the TWR line does return with another wave and hopefully more than just a 3rd wave? Let's start out with Miles.
I'm just gonna say Shaka, keep the dream going, let's keep this brand alive. I think that we are on track to have the line continued. Considering how successful it's been, everybody has been raving about it online. So I don't see it declining. And even though it has, I think that's because there's some big things around the corner that we just haven't seen yet. So I think it's going to happen. And I will do everything in my power to make sure it continues.
Thank you, Miles.
You think it'll happen, but will it? It doesn't seem like you're confident in that.
Roman?
I'd also like to mention real quick.
Go ahead,
I would like to mention that President Roberto and my fellow candidate Miles do not own a single piece of the new 2022 TWR merch.
Wrong.
Neither of them have had.
Hey,
what
let the man
merchandise
speak.
do you own, Miles? What merchandise?
I own the day out with Thomas.
Tell me, Miles.
I own the day out with Thomas. He lies. He's from
Okay.
Vice. I don't care for
Okay,
it. Not one bit. Not one bit do I care for it.
But who peer pressured you to buy that? Me. Okay. Anyways,
Me, myself, and
neither of
I
them-
peer pressured myself.
neither of them own any of the new TWR besides the Dale Thomas one. But we're just gonna forget that for right now because it's not really relevant. And none of them have any interest, or neither of them have any interest in buying it. So why would they? Roberto, President Roberto,
I am a
apparently
measly
has no
small
plans
user.
to
I
keep it
haven't.
alive.
Hey, let the man
Miles-
speak. Let the man speak, Miles.
Miles, thank you. Miles has no plans to keep it alive. If I am president, I will make sure that a third wave is released, and in it, they'll have some engines like Victor and
Great list.
Just gonna cut that real quick. I will make sure that in the third wave they'll have a lot of new characters, such as Victor. Everybody's wanted Victor for a while now because we've had Kevin, but no Victor. Why would they do that? Philip is also another great addition.
A
Connor
prediction.
and Caitlin.
Okay, feel free to.
Steven.
Your time's up, so feel free to interject, Miles.
Yeah. So you're just making predictions. You haven't guaranteed anything. Okay. You're just predicting what the line will make based on what we already have in the popularity of toys in classic Thomas Wooden Railway.
Of course, as any community member would want. And also, Miles.
Well, yeah,
I've
of
been
course it's what
informed
you want.
by
You're
an
just predicting.
Miles, I haven't been informed by an anonymous source that you can't do it.
Oh, really? An anonymous source. Wonderful. I love this
And I was
anonymous
told
source.
to say so.
Yeah.
I'm
sure you
been
were
providing you with lots of helpful information during this debate so far.
Well, with that said, we will enter our final question. So our final
Our
question.
final question already.
Yes,
Wow.
our final question already. Now, last year was our first time we had a vice president, and that is, of course, where we got Roman as our TWRC vice president. Now, this year, as he's running for president, he picked, I wouldn't even say arguably, the best possible candidate anybody could ever want as a vice president. He picked Percy number 6 to be the next vice president if he so wins the election.
Shocker.
Meanwhile, Percy 6 Productions, inferior Percy, has picked nobody as of the time of this recording. So
Can I just say I am astounded by how level this is. How neutral the proctor.
Well,
of
thank
this
you.
has been.
I'm honestly glad you're very happy with how neutral.
I was being a smidge on the sarcastic side.
History.
Just a smidge.
I gotta commend the neutrality here.
Thank you, Roman. Thank you. Now, Miles, if you
The
don't
game
mind,
is rigged, guys.
Miles,
The
if you
game
don't
is
mind,
rigged.
let's let the moderator keep moderating. How about that? Okay. Thank you.
I think that's a great idea.
So
Yes, the moderator is biased.
no.
I call foul. I call foul. I call
the
foul.
moderator is just trying to do the moderator's job, and it's
Yeah,
interrupted.
well, the moderator is doing a very biased job of
The
it.
moderator hasn't fully got out the question yet because Miles keeps
Miles,
interrupting.
please let the moderator speak.
Thank you, Roman.
You're throwing in all this.
If this is how it's going to be under Miles, I'm pretty worried about the community. But I guess that's beside the point because my question is not about the presidency right now. It's about the vice presidency. As I said, Roman, you picked Percy number 6. Miles, you've currently picked nobody. Why did you choose Percy number 6? Miles, who do you have in mind to be your vice president if you so win? And we'll start with Roman. Why did you pick Percy number 6? And how do you feel about the Romans TWR Empire Percy number 6 combo as it's election time?
Well, I think it will be a great pairing in the TWRC office. As we all know, last year during the debate, you were Roberto's opponent. And unfortunately, people made a very poor decision in picking Roberto again over you because we can see in this past year how things have turned since that decision was made. And unfortunately, they've gone from bad to worse. And I think that if I pick you as I have picked you as my vice president, I believe that we will make great strides in reversing the problems that President Roberto has caused and right the wrongs that he has caused, such as MPS being imprisoned and him avoiding his troublesome truck taxes, because those are all things that you support as well as I do. We won't be opposing each other like what me and Roberto have going on right now, where I'm in a position that I cannot do anything about the unfortunate matters that have occurred. And I believe that is how we will come together and make the community a better place.
Thank you, Roman. Miles, your time begins now.
I want to say that before this session went on, I said that Oliver Duck, Ted, would be my vice president. So that was a little phony of you, Percy number 6. Also, I do really want to stress how unfair this has been. It has been 2-on-1 this whole time, and I do not think that is fair. Anyhow, I digress. I think Oliver Duck and I will be a fantastic combo because, as was said earlier, I have experience. I'm a newer member. I have less videos than most of you, less subscribers even. But Oliver Duck is the flip side of that. He has extensive experience and lots of videos. So put the two of us together.
So judging by your views, wouldn't that be an issue? Wouldn't you two conflict?
No, actually, we have come to an understanding about a lot of issues, such as that of being an active user or not, as I mentioned earlier. So it actually works out well. And instead of it being, only big users talking or only small users, the two of us working together, we come to a middle ground and compromise frequently. So that it's actually a fantastic combo we've hit. So with Roman and Percy number 6, you get 2 users who have been in the community a very long time, and they're gonna have the same views on most everything. So I'm trying to bring some new fresh blood into the mix. We're still keeping
If
some
I
of
could
the
interrupt real quick,
His time is up. You're free to go.
I would just like to say that Miles is trying to spin the view that me and Percy number 6, that we are on the same level here, that we are both very old users with the same knowledge and viewpoints. But I'll have you know that Percy number 6 joined the community in 2008. I joined in 2014. That's a big 6-year gap in between. A lot of things
and I
happened
joined
in that
5
time
years after you.
I
joined 5 years
to
after
shape
you.
our opinions. You joined in 2019. I believe you joined in 2017. Did you not? Your candidate can't even remember when he created his own channel.
No, well, I
How
created my
could you-
channel, but
how
there
could
was
you
no
support him?
content on there. That's not even
You were
close.
still an active member in this community, contributing to it.
Actually,
And
I was
therefore,
an
you
inactive
have been
user.
influenced by
I did
that.
not post, and I did not comment before I made a video. The only thing I did was on Instagram, okay? Which, Instagram
Which
is
still a part of the community, just as Twitter is it not?
It is, although I was interacting with very few users in that time. Okay? It was only semi-recently, in the last few years, that I ended up amounting followers and getting more likes. But I was not actively commenting or anything on people's videos.
Thank you both.
I just
For
want
your
to say,
time.
Roman's presidency will go down in infantry if he should become president. I just want to say that.
Bold statement.
I just would like to say that in this debate, I am like Fortnite and Miles is like Among Us. Thank you.
Well, we're
Thank
both
you.
awesome. God damn.
Well, before we go,
cut that out. I
want
said
you
a
both-
profanity.
I want you both to get the opportunity to give a final address to why you should be the next TWRC president. We will start with Miles.
I have new policies that I would like to enact, and in general, I'm just new blood coming into the community as president. I would be, and I would love nothing more than to lead you guys in the community. Listen to you, take your ideas, and work for the people. Okay.
All talk, no action.
What do you
Thank you.
mean no action? I said I would take advice from the people and do what they want to have happen too. I haven't done any action because I've had no power. I've had no platform to do this. You have, and you haven't done much. Okay.
Well, thank you. Now, Roman, please go ahead.
Well, I would like to reiterate for the people, I've had no control over anything that has been done in the past year. And if I'm voted president for my vice president position, I will make sure to flip everything that has happened around. I will right the wrongs, and I will put President Roberto behind bars where he belongs. And with my vice president, person number 6, we will make a great team to make this community better and to release a third wave of the new TWR, something that candidate Miles has no interest in doing. And overall, this community will be a better place with us. And I believe that if you vote for Miles, his presidency will go down just like Holy Mary.
Thank you both. Thank you for your time tonight. As for the audience, best of luck deciding who your next president should be tomorrow in the community elections. I hope you go out and vote for one of these two fantastic candidates. This is Percy number 6. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.